Hi, this is Dr. Chevallier. This series of videos is based on my book Hyper-Selective Mating versus Non-Selective Survival. It is a book that I wrote and I have an outline to submit to a publication, unless of course there is not enough of a timely interest which will be published under Charles Satori's publishing company, which is not a company, it actually is a publishing house that I will run and I am running, and that includes videos especially for persons who cannot read. And this book, the idea is to actually explain to persons that history does teach us something, and that something is to prevent generations and generations, including all of us alive now, from making the same mistakes as during eugenics in the United States. I am now in the United States, and also I was born in Poland. My grandfather, for instance, spent a significant amount of time in a concentration camp, and my father was actually forced to marry my mother, that also was prevented from marrying a person who she preferred because of ideas that became distorted by persons. And that distortion, the simplest way to understand it is when you have, for example, a sandwich. That sandwich, to be able to enjoy it, that other person has to want or feel that hunger for. Also, to give that sandwich, you have to give that person a choice, and when giving it, before, during or after giving that sandwich, there cannot be a harm. That person cannot become in pain as a result. So you cannot, for instance, shoot a person, patch up and then handle a sandwich, because that is wrong. That person, even though that person will become hungry and may smile after obtaining that sandwich, will not like you long term ever, in fact. And the same is with, for example, offering that sandwich as if it was a bait. So placing something that is seemingly tasty or offers itself at the tip of a hook, and then when that person takes it, use that person in pain or kill that person, similar to a fish that originally was expecting some sort of a benefit that has no consequences. That often is badly understood, and I can right now explain where it comes from. Because I am a physician and I have an extensive actually training and knowledge in public health, I can tell you that on a given area, what is being at fault of humans as species done to any other species, including other humans by humans, is then enacted for as long as there is an ongoing pain or cause the death to those different species or other humans. Similar to, for example, if you stick your hand in a fire, well, you will not be able to be a good person if somebody holds that hand in the fire, for that pain will prevent you from not trying to free yourself up even if you wanted to. And similar with on the area with species that humans torture, kill, or administer barbiturates to deprive of fodder in cold or in fridges, and then becomes reflected in behavior of humans towards humans, and manifests itself for as long as that pain sent to the ecosystem as help, because I am somewhere kept on barbiturates and I am being stripped of leather, for instance, or of feather or other things, or otherwise there will be group of humans not aware of that connection, that on subconscious level will see in human nature duality, despite being the same species, that the duality will consist of not in actually having that person capable of cohabiting in a herd or independent living, be it as a couple, an adult member that is single, or an adult member that is in possession and wanting to have children and sharing life, which exists both in human world and also in animal models. Unlike that, persons of same species, unlike domesticated trained dogs, will enact the exact same way and the exact same hatred level and behavior would others create in artificial, for instance, chicken plants and chicken coops, as well as in farms and houses in artificial ways, to animals. And so on a given area it will represent itself as a behavior that that person cannot precisely determine if that person is actually creating a demand for a given item, and when put money in between, unaware of it. No other species in wilderness attack to kill or torture same species. And that is common misunderstanding, you see. No other species wins over a mating primal partner by other than goodness. Extensive goodness that is mutual, and no other wants to be loved less. And those are interactions that in all species, in fact, do not form cycles in which that individual is exchanged, unless that individual rejected that person, one or the other, as being insufficiently corresponding in level of love. And that brings another opportunity, but it does not create in any way from full relationships that are like 4 seasons, cyclical or divided into winning of stages. And that is why you see selection of partners occurs only when there are very basic things met on a given area, which first one is personal and area safety. And so that is why in epidemiology, a physician like myself, or a consultant that works for a person like I, or is specialized in something different, like technical aspects of it, person arrives and looks at which species at the area right now are currently being injured or killed, and barbiturates, and I know that because I'm a doctor, do not prevent from, because we can talk about paradoxical effect, even if animal is silent, from having what is being at fault of Homo sapiens killed in pain, collecting in Homo sapiens at fault of humans. That in humans, to reduce first mobility of humans, intellect of humans, example of that historically was ancient Rome, for example, that collapsed the civilization. Also a Nazi Germany that also collapsed and led to nuclear explosion. Collect in intellect and collect in lives and mobility to stop inflicting injuries on a given area on other than human species that turns one humans against others. And also, if that does not happen, creates that system that is similar to parasitosis that during the COVID-19 we are living now, which means nature knows wipe out what causes active pain to some species and refuses to stop, because like that hand held in fire, these birds, hens, cows or other species cannot physically withstand it. And that is why humans die in massacres and in epidemics. The best way to understand it from a simple rule that killing other species, in fact remediated by killing, offers only painful, dragged survival in bouts that leads to death for as long as this goes on, at fault of rational design of humans, insist of humanitarian assistance and removal of being humane from killing, because inflicting pain to then kill has nothing humane in it and is offense to empathy and intellect combined, from the existence, in fact, of enlightenment, and the distorted version of it in massacres and rapes of Illuminati, translating basically what is done to chickens, what is done to hens, onto women and men tortured and killed in pain in the name of distortion of intellect, is not humane but inhumane, and is, as cause-effect, direct result of, at that very point of time, kept somewhere tortured, unable to withstand that pain, animals done by humans with these two hands similar to mine that won't listen to it. Why not? Because it leads to this seemingly paradox that killing anything in fact kills. And so you need to understand that it is not a joke. It does not mean that if I, for example, inflict an injury to an ant and that ant dies, that it is the sole meaning of it. Yes, it does kill that ant. However, nature created it in such a way that unless I was first attacked and I was faultless, meaning I did not do anything intentional to fumigate or kill these insects, while placing erroneous message there is plenty of food and killing is normatized like a stash of meat, that is then used in desensitization of instinct to co-share goods and co-obtain goods in thriving with other species in the area, and causes attacks. But I was first one, and based on the information that this is, for instance, brown ant, and that brown ant, unlike red one, kills, I squished it. I am going to feel and suffer as I am trying to kill that ant, unable to do so, or feel empathy. And if that is missing, and I keep on killing these ants, I will slowly start to have at least some bodily organs deteriorate and become weakened, including my hands, so that I don't kill more of those species, while other species are by eye or for eye collected by other humans. It seems sometimes complicated, but it is simply to say whatever it is that I as a human directly try to kill, and it is faultless, is going to kill me. And the best way to understand it is, for example, coronary artery disease. Coronary artery disease is a disease that is a direct consequence of chronic, serial, intentionally killed birds to have that fat, in fact, deposited in between organs, stiffened the same speed as stiffening somewhere on a chicken plant chickens, and then stab the heart or vessels and cause that human death together with those chickens, in timely and proportional to whatever is suffering money. You may ask now, is there revenge there? If I in the past killed so many ants or attributed to fumigation with my money, am I going to die? No. However, there is punishment for ignorance. So if I had a chance to learn and skipped it, or if I continue persistently to do so forgetting non-stop that killing those species kills me in more ways than only fumigation from a mind state similar to Nero, burning the whole Rome, for those lavish pigs, then I will be as those animals suffer, die, and subject to targeting. Otherwise, there is no revenge, there is forgiveness.